Hi, I'm Astrid, and I'm 34 years old. I spend my days taking care of our home and our two daughters. My husband, then, and I got married 7 years ago, and since then, we've built a family of four. Our daughters, Maya and Millie, bring a lot of joy into our lives. Ben works hard and often gets home late, but he's a good provider for us, and I do my best to support him. Overall, our family life is pretty peaceful, but there's one big problem. My mother-in-law, Francine, she's what you might call a classic difficult mother-in-law. From the start of our marriage, she's made it clear she doesn't approve of me. She often criticizes my cooking, saying it needs more salt or broth. But I disagree. Adding more doesn't improve the taste, it just masks the flavor of the ingredients. But she didn't seem to care about my preferences at all. She'd add mayonnaise, sugar, salt, and whatever else she fancied into my dishes as if it were normal. If I cooked everything to her taste, it would be overpowering and I wouldn't enjoy it. This became a common occurrence whenever we visited my in-laws. From the very start of our marriage, she'd pester me about getting pregnant, almost like a broken record. Are you pregnant yet? When will I have a grandchild? She stopped asking after our first daughter was born, but after our second child, she started up again, this time with something even worse. She'd say things like, "Still no boy. When are you going to have your third child? If you don't give birth to a boy, you're worthless as my eldest son's wife. You're a useless wife if you can't give me a grandson." It was relentless and hurtful. I had finally reached my breaking point with Francine's hurtful comments. No matter what she said, she always ended it with, "If you don't give birth to a boy, your existence is just pointless." It was infuriating. I mean, how pathetic can you be to judge someone's worth based on the gender of their children? I have two wonderful daughters, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I couldn't understand why Francine would say such terrible things to me. In what kind of backward thinking does she live, insisting that a baby had to be a boy? Children are precious regardless of their gender. These thoughts kept gnawing at me until I couldn't take it anymore. I finally opened up to my husband about the bullying. "I don't want to go to your parents' house anymore," I told him. To my relief, he understood. "Okay, you don't have to visit them anymore," he said. "But you should show up at least on Thanksgiving and New Year's." I agreed, though I really dreaded seeing Francine on those occasions. But as the eldest son, my husband felt obligated to attend, and I didn't want to make things harder for him. With this arrangement, I managed to minimize my interactions with my in-laws as much as possible. After some time, my husband started coming home much later than usual. Normally, he'd be back around 8 p.m. due to his work commitments, but recently it's been closer to 10 p.m. He claims it's because of overtime and work-related socializing. But I can't shake the feeling that something else might be going on. His late nights mean that my daughters hardly get to see him anymore. "Daddy's not coming home today either," they'd sadly remark. He says he's busy at work. It's heartbreaking to see them miss their father so much. That's why I finally decided to address the issue with my husband. One day, I mustered up the courage to ask my husband if he could come home early, even if just for a little while, because our daughters missed him dearly. But instead of understanding, he responded with irritation. "Who do you think I've been working this late for?" he snapped. "I'm not playing around. You've been too easy on yourself lately, haven't you? Even telling me about your issues with Mom." I was taken aback by his anger. All I wanted was for him to spend time with our daughters. Why did he have to react like this? Gradually, a divide started growing between us. Then, during Thanksgiving, I had to face Francine again, and she was as cruel as ever. Not only did she pick on me, but she also belittled her other daughter-in-laws, Lorna and Callie. She'd order us around, saying, "You all better get in the kitchen and start getting ready." And when she addressed my daughters, it was with dismissiveness, while showering her second son's son, Timmy, with praise. "Ha, Timmy, come over here." She'd say, "You're very important to me since you'll be our heir." It was clear discrimination. She treated Timmy as special because he was the grandson she wanted, while ignoring and marginalizing my daughters and the other daughter-in-laws. We formed a silent alliance, Lorna, Callie, and I, bonded by Francine's harassment. It's astonishing how Francine can switch her attitude so abruptly. I never imagined she presumed to decide that Timmy would be the heir without consulting me. It's beyond disrespectful. And you're right, it's not just Francine's behavior that's troubling. Our own husbands seem completely oblivious to the way their wives are being mistreated. They're off drinking and socializing while we're left to deal with the pressure from Francine. To make matters worse, Francine talks behind our backs to her relatives, spreading hurtful rumors and making outrageous comments like, "She really is a bad wife who can't get pregnant with a boy." It's appalling. Lorna, Callie, and I found solace in each other. We realized we were all going through similar struggles, and we leaned on each other for support. We promised to stand by one another, no matter what challenges came our way. As the months flew by, New Year's Day arrived, and Francine continued to boss us around, treating us like her servants. She'd rush us to bring out dishes and refill drinks promptly. Then she'd swoop in, holding my son, gushing about how adorable he was, and allowing all the relatives to hold him too. But things took a nasty turn when Francine, perhaps fueled by alcohol, started spewing hurtful comments loudly. "Why don't you leave your wife and get a new one then?" she exclaimed. Shockingly, my husband agreed, saying, "You're right, Mom. Maybe I don't need a wife like her." Their laughter echoed, joined by the other relatives, while we wives stood there in disbelief, feeling the weight of their cruelty. Then Francine went too far. She shoved divorce papers in my face, saying, "You should sign this already. I don't want you in this house anymore, and I don't want your granddaughters either. So you take them." It was a moment of utter betrayal and heartbreak. My husband stood there with a smirk on his face as Francine handed me the divorce papers. Feeling like I couldn't endure their cruelty any longer, I agreed to sign. To my surprise, my husband and I both completed the paperwork, and the divorce was finalized right there at the New Year's gathering. "Now I'll be able to live peacefully without any more hassle from you," Francine remarked, laughing alongside my husband. Feeling utterly alone, I decided to leave first. But before I could, Lorna and Callie rushed to my side, asking if I was okay. "I'm fine now," I assured them. "I'm leaving, but you two should find a way to escape too." As we exchanged these words, my sister-in-law Winona, who usually left early, suddenly spoke up. "I'm so happy for you, Astrid, that you got to divorce my terrible brother," she exclaimed. My husband's face turned pale. "How dare you say that to your own older brother?" he protested. But Winona wasn't backing down. "Shut up, you filthy cheater. I know everything. I know you're having an affair, Ben." The room fell silent, everyone frozen by Winona's accusation. My husband stammered, trying to deny it, but Winona was adamant. "We know," she insisted. "Don't embarrass your brother by denying it." The truth was out, and there was no going back. With a triumphant air, Winona presented incriminating photos of Ben with another woman to each relative's seat, shocking everyone in the room. "How did you even?" Ben stuttered, clearly caught off guard. "You're having an affair with a classmate of mine from high school," Winona revealed. "Another classmate saw you together and took these photos for me. Now you can't get away with this. With the divorce finalized, you must pay alimony and child support to Astrid, okay?" Ben vehemently denied it, but Winona's evidence was undeniable. Thanks to her unexpected intervention, I was granted a divorce, all because of Ben and his reckless actions. "Now is the time for you both to decide," Winona urged Lorna and Callie. "Even if Astrid gets divorced first like this, Mom will keep pressuring you both." Encouraged by Winona's courage, Lorna and Callie confronted their husbands. "I hate that our child was made heir without my consent," Lorna exclaimed. "And I hate that you agreed with your mother. I won't tolerate being controlled by her anymore. Let's get a divorce." "What divorce?" Callie's husband retorted. "If you don't like it, then cut ties with your family. If not, I'm taking Timmy with me, and you'll never see him again." Shocked by the ultimatum, Callie stood her ground. I refuse to be bullied by your mother any longer. Either divorce me and stay with your family, or cut ties with them. You choose." The room fell silent, tension thick in the air as each couple faced an impossible decision. Amidst the unexpected chaos, the relatives hastily excused themselves, apologizing for the disturbance before swiftly departing. But Francine remained incensed by the upheaval. "What do you think you're both doing? I'll never allow you to get a divorce," she declared vehemently. "It's not up to you, Mom. It's their decision," then interjected firmly. Determined to break free from the toxic influence, I added, "And I'll cut ties with your family too. That's why I came here today." Feeling the weight of their wives' resolve, Lauren and Callie pressed their husbands to make a choice. Eventually, Ned and Steve, feeling the pressure, decided to sever ties with the family. Ned couldn't stand the thought of being separated from his son. But Steve made the difficult decision to cut ties with his family because he loved his wife deeply. In the end, Francine was left with only Ben, who was drowning in debt. I received a substantial amount of alimony from my ex-husband and his lover, who refused to marry him, citing her existing marriage. Ben's reputation suffered both personally and professionally, and he became a laughingstock with no chance of remarriage. As for Francine, the neighborhood gossip painted her as abandoned by her sons, a fate she seemingly brought upon herself. Seeing their downfall brought me immense satisfaction. I moved to the city, where my aunt offered me a job, and I started a new life there with my daughters. Winona, who also lived in the city, became a close confidant. We often met for drinks and arranged playdates for our children. For now, I decided to focus on work and providing for my daughters. Love can wait, but my daughters' well-being cannot.